Hello and welcome to another edition of Great Companies, Great Leaders. I am just so honored and thrilled today to have with us Isabelle Rakestraw, co-founder and president of Grand Canyon University's Women in Business Club. Welcome.
Christine, thank you so much for having me.
It's really great to have you. A little bit about Isabelle. We always like to start with a bio and just share with our listeners who we're talking to. So Isabelle is a junior at Grand Canyon University, majoring in business management. And during her time there, she has co-founded GCU's Women in Business Club, which is amazing, which has grown to over 700 members. That is just unbelievable. Honestly, congratulations. That is huge.
Thank you, Christine.
Just shows you what a need there was, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
While leading that, she's worked for the university's partner company, Grand Canyon Education in Employee Relations. Isabelle's passionate about cultivating community, providing learning opportunities for GCU business students, and serving those around her to the best of her ability. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Christine. Appreciate it.
So we're going to start like we always start, because I think it's interesting for listeners to know just a little bit about who you are and your journey. Like, how did you get to where you are today, and why is your passion around women in business? So wherever you want to start.
Absolutely. Well, hey, again, thanks so much for having me. And I am a little bit of a different case because I'm 20 years old. And so my career journey isn't too long, but I was blessed enough to have it start in high school. And so in high school, I worked at Caterpillar, which is, if you're not from the Midwest, it is the big yellow machinery. It's huge in the Midwest, and especially where I grew up in. And so in high school, I had the opportunity to work as a marketing intern, and more specifically, a marketing intern in their defense sector of the business. And so that was extremely interesting, just honestly getting to know how to learn Outlook and all those applications. Those leaders at that company were just so gracious to me being in high school. And I feel like that really set me up and propelled me going into college then, kind of knowing what a business looks like, already starting to build my business acumen. And it also just showed me, hey, I really do like business. So Caterpillar, they have an awesome program for high schoolers. And I always encourage people to do that because it set me up for success going into college, knowing that I already knew I wanted to get into business. And so coming to GCU as a freshman, I made it my goal to get involved with a lot. And so in doing that, I just recognized just the need for a mentor to help me navigate, what do I actually like to do? What are my passions? And through that, I found a great mentor named Havla, who was my RA at the time. I've done a lot of life with Havla now. She's a great friend, and we would just talk with each other and talk about this need as, more specifically from a freshman perspective, just really yearning for women community and women to do life alongside with, and women to make decisions with, and just to learn in a comfortable environment together because in the past, business was very male dominated, and now we see that kind of changing for the better. But we saw that need for the community, especially being a freshman and not knowing, what I really want to do or what circles I want to run around with. So when we noticed that need together, we went ahead and just started building out this concept of a women in business club. And we got some awesome girls to come alongside us and to help us build that. And now it is where it is today with about 700 members and a mentorship program of 200 members. And so it has really flourished. And like you said, that, other girls saw the need for this too. And so we as a club, we put on events. For example, upcoming event is Girls on the Green, where we take our club members to go learn how to golf. We have a conference coming up focusing on the importance of community in the workspace, which you're speaking at. Yes, all the fun stuff. And so that's really our goal, is to cater events to these women and to provide them with the knowledge that they'll need going out of the workforce, and also to provide them with the connections that they need, going out into the workforce. So that is a little snapshot of my career journey. And, in addition to women in business, I work, like you mentioned, as an employee relations student worker here at the university. And so I was actually provided that opportunity through a woman that I met through Women in Business. So it all connects, and it has just been so awesome getting to learn that side of the university, and just getting to support employees. I love people. And so that's how I kind of landed in this role. And I love it so far. So that's a little bit about me and just what I do and where I'm at. But yeah.
I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah.
So I know we've talked about this before, but a very close friend and colleague started the Foundation for Female Equity and Inclusion a couple of years ago, and that was born out of our career experiences, right? Realizing that employers and women in our local communities needed a place to come to understand how can they do better in business, and what can they learn better differently, and what are the best practices for women in business. And so I love that we're so aligned in that area. And I was thinking as you were talking how amazing it is that these women have this at the very beginning of their career, and they have the mentorship and the sponsorship and the support and the community, most of all, the community, the network to tap into. You said it so well about Havilah in terms of doing life together, doing so much of life together. And it's such a great time in terms of women helping other women. There's been other generations that much more competitive with one another, and because there was very limited seats at the table, and not that there's tons more today, but there are more.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and this club and what you're providing, I feel like is just so amazing in terms of what women need at the very beginning.
Absolutely. And it has been so cool to see just women professionals in the valley and even, male professionals rally around our club and just being so willing to pour their resources and knowledge into the club. I mean, it has just been, a little bit overwhelming just how many supporters we have. And it's been just the biggest blessing. So it is definitely, I was asked the question the other day, did you expect this when starting the club? And I thought it was going to be a sweet community of about 50 girls who get together, and it has, skyrocketed, and it's been amazing. And so it definitely has surprised me beyond belief. And it's been awesome to see the community rally around the club too. So yeah.
So, the Women's Leadership Conference that we did last year, very similar response. And we're doing it again this year, October 13th, same location. And we're doing it longer because everyone that came said, please do it longer. But to your point, we were very surprised at the response in terms of women just seeking that community connection and seeking that place to hear great content, hear from speakers, and connect with one another, right? We had men attend, which was amazing. And they were asking, how can we best support the women, not only in our company, but in our community? So I love what you're doing. I love that you're providing that space for women. So let's talk a little bit about leadership. What do you think when you think about leaders from your perspective, starting out in your career? What is one characteristic that you think every leader should possess? And does that make them a great leader?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just through my experience, the best leaders that I have, been blessed to follow have been those that are just rooted in servant heartedness, and their desire is to serve their followers. And that's been something that I have continuously, prayed that I would be as a leader, because from a follower, when a leader can lead you in that way and can level themselves down with you and just humble themselves with you and teach you, I feel like that is when it creates the most comfortable environment to work and be creative and to be truly who you are called to be. And so I have experienced that so much with, again, Havilah. She led me in a way that was just so rooted in servant heartedness. What can I do for you, Belle? How can I make today better for you? My HR leaders now at the company, they are so rooted in servant heartedness business and are constantly looking for ways to grow me and develop me. And that is just so well received to me as a follower. And I think, just humility is huge as a leader. I don't think many people react well to leaders who assert their power over their followers. And so just coming from my perspective, I would say servant-heartedness. And I don't know, Christine, if you've had the experience of doing that or following somebody who is servant-hearted, but and that's huge that we preach here at the College of Business is how to be servant leaders. And I actually took a class on it last semester and just it's so well received. And I think that, in order to truly be a leader, you have to be willing to follow first and you have to be willing to serve first. So
yes,
that is my take. I'm curious what you think, Christine.
I agree with you. I've worked for all different kind of leaders, and I think that's helped shaped me into the type of leader that I wanted to be, especially owning my own organization and running my own organization and having teams in a different way outside of a corporate Fortune 500 company. But the leaders that had the best results were leaders that focused on their people, right? So understanding that the way things are getting done isn't, at that time, it wasn't robots and computers. It was, really people, and it still is people. We have more AI, we have more technology, we have, great innovation, but we still need people. And if we don't have leaders who are humble and leaders that are focused on their people, I think it's very difficult.
Absolutely. And, being a believer, I look at the ultimate leader, and that was Jesus, who, humbled himself and came to this world and served us. And I think that is such a great model. And that is the ultimate leader that I could ever look to. And so I think just constantly aiming to, be made more like him and to, wash my disciples' feet like he did or whatever that might be. But so yeah, it's been sweet to just follow leaders who do that and who model Jesus so well in the workspace. It has been such a blessing just to learn from him, and that's something that I constantly want to work towards and learn more. So yeah.
Leaders that that leave a space for me and leave an imprint, I'll say.
Yeah.
They've rolled up their sleeves, right? They've rolled up their sleeves and they jump in and they support and they help. It doesn't mean they step out of their leadership role, but they roll up their sleeves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they're doing what everyone's doing to achieve the goal.
Absolutely, Christine.
So I know you're starting out, which is so awesome because you have a different lens you're looking through and a different perspective. And I think that's refreshing. And I'm hoping that other people your age, as well as seasoned leaders, are listening, because your insights, I think, are so important to leadership and reminding us what leadership is about. So when you think about the position you had at Caterpillar and you think about your position today, what advice would you give someone? Not everyone, when you're thinking about your roles today, you're not leading Caterpillar, you're not leading HR, you're not yet, you will be. But
right.
But what advice would you give someone sitting in your position? What advice would you give someone going into a leadership position?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say just, being where I'm at and the experience that I have had, I would say meeting your people where they're at is just huge. For example, going back to Caterpillar, when I was a high schooler, all I knew was all I knew in high school. And those leaders really met me where I was at and taught me how to schedule a meeting on Outlook. They taught me those things that, now looking back, I'm like, oh my goodness, I should have totally known that. But they met me where I'm at and they taught me, and they took the time and they had patience to, walk me or walk alongside me. And so that is huge as a follower, and that makes me want to rally behind a leader and be extremely loyal to them, because they met me where I was at. They taught me, they had patience with me, they listened, and that's been huge. For me now, leading the Women in Business Club, it's all volunteer work. The leadership team, they all volunteer and donate their time to pour into that club, and so it's huge to and meet them where they're at, because first off, they're not paid. And second off, we're college students. We're still figuring it out. And so that's been a lesson that has been super fun to learn, is just how can I, meet them where they're at and support them where they're at. Is this a busy week? Do they know what I'm asking of them? And so that has been just a huge life changer for me, especially the age that I am is when leaders can meet me where I'm at and walk alongside me.
That is so amazing. And just so you know, sitting on this side of the fence, we're all still figuring it out, regardless of our age and stage, because seasons change and careers pivot and change. And then you have a new chapter to figure out. So it's an awesome journey, right?
Mhm.
And meeting people where they're at is just such an eye-opening revelation in terms of what we also do, which is meeting organizations where they're at. Because there's a lot of organizations that are doing well. There's organizations that are doing just okay, but their leadership matters, and meeting people where they're at is so important. So I love that you said that.
Thanks, Christine. Yeah, that has been huge for me.
Can you share a little bit about someone who's had a tremendous impact on you as a leader? Because you are a leader in so many respects in terms of the Women in Business Club and just the women around you that you mentor, that I know are learning amazing things from you. But who's had a tremendous impact on you?
Yeah, this is a fun story. As I was talking about, I now work in employee relations, and it was a fun story how I got there. We actually had our first ever Women in Business event, and we invited some of the GCU and GCE executive team to join us, some of the women from the executive team. And one of those women was Renee Green, who is our vice president of HR. And she learned about my interest in HR and just made an effort to pull me aside and talk to me about it, and initiated, getting coffee with one another. And we got coffee, and she heard, my interest in maybe my experience that I already had in HR. And she created a role for me to come in where she thought that I could learn a lot and that I could get a true experience in HR. And that was amazing. Like, Renee is our leader of HR, yet she took her time out of her day and made an effort to create a role for me to learn and to get exposure to HR and to just truly see if I like it, with no pressure to like it. And that was huge to me. And I think that I was able to learn a lot from that, and just learn a lot about who I want to be as a leader in the future. And she still leads like that constantly. She has poured so much into our Women in Business Club, and just seeing her around the office, she stops to talk to everyone and ask how their day is, and just takes the time to be with them. And so I think she's truly a leader who comes from a servant heart, and she does a really good job at meeting her people where they're at. And being in HR, it's an interesting balance, because you in a sense are given this sort of power, and I think that Renee handles that with such grace, and she's so elegant, and I have just learned so much from her, and how she's poured into my life, and even to the point where my mom was in town and she got lunch with me and my mom. Like, she is awesome.
Wow.
And she truly gets to know about her people and cares about her people. So if I had to say anyone, I would definitely have to say my fearless HR leader, Renee. She's amazing.
Shout out to Renee. That's
Yes,
awesome. And she's leaving an imprint for you as you go forward. And
absolutely.
I know you're not graduating yet, but very soon.
Yeah.
And when you do, you'll take those lessons with you, which is awesome.
Absolutely, I will. You betcha.
So in closing, Belle, let's just talk a little bit. I like to ask everyone who their hero is, because I'm doing a little test, actually.
Okay. That is so fun.
Because I'm just interested to know who is your hero, and so is our audience. And 90% of the time people say this person. So I'm interested to know, who is your hero?
Oh boy.
No pressure.
Well, I have one hero on this earth, and then one that is in heaven.
Okay, fair.
I would say on this earth, my mom. She has just
See?
been. Is
There
that
you
the
go.
one?
Yes.
She is amazing. I mean, talk about a servant heart. She loved me so well growing up, and she stayed at home, but also worked. She was part-time and just gave me the best experience as a kid. She was always looking for ways to make my day better, and just really modeled like what I want to be as a mom. And she is seriously my hero. She was even texting me this morning, just scripture and prayer. And she has been an amazing supporter. And also my dad too. They both love me so well. And they have just, they've loved me so well and supported me in everything that I do. And they are the best. But in addition to that, I would say the Lord, he has just completely blessed me and provided so much. And he has, his provision on my life has been amazing. And just the community that he's blessed me with has been such a blessing to learn from them. And so those are my two heroes, Christine. What a fun question. I love it.
Yeah. And moms, 90% of the time, that's what people say. And I'm so amazed at the answer. I mean, I love it. Being a mom myself, I love it. But it's the one job that doesn't come with an instruction manual for your children, right? So when you were born, no one handed your parents a manual and said, here's how to raise Belle, right?
Right.
And now as people are older, they're like, my mom is my hero. I'm like, that's just amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Moms are the best. And I'm so thankful for mine.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you so much for being with us today. Will you come back again and share
anytime. Anytime, Christine.
What you're doing and how Women in Business is going, and just really appreciate you being with us.
Oh, it was such a blessing to join, and I'll come back anytime you invite me, Christine.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Brightworks Consulting hosts this podcast and YouTube channel to spotlight the leadership around the world that is changing lives. Brightworks offers a myriad of consulting services in the public and private sector, to include diversity, equity, and inclusion solutions for any size company. You can find us at www.brightworksconsulting.com. We're honored to have Best Companies AZ as a presenting sponsor for this podcast. Best Companies AZ is your #1 source for regional employer branding. You can find them at www.bestcompaniesaz.com.